Q is simple. If it looks like a 2, it's a Q. A Q is a 2, and a Q, you usually can recognize it. It also will have a U after it. A Q looks like a 2 followed by a U. Now we did R earlier when we were doing the B's. An R can be fat rounded. And you often look at that and you want to think it's a B. It looks more like a B. And then they'll swing it back around to the right. And that makes it an R. By swinging it to the right makes it an R. And most of the time, an R seems to be followed by that curl or that flourish that looks like an E. You might get one that looks like an R, and you get that curl, and you get a curl way down here, and the line will be here, and you get lost in what this is up here because it's so far above the line. But it's that same R and that E looking flourish, but they put all this extra in there. It took me a while to find that little letter way up there at the top that was an R. Remember, we did S earlier with the L's. If it comes to the left and stops, it's an S. If it crosses back over, it's an L. And once in a while, you might get an S that just almost is straight. There isn't much to it. All right, we've mentioned the letter T several times because it looks so much like other letters of the alphabet. But I'm going to go over a couple of them again. A T will come up and across, down, and curve to the right. An I will come down and curve to the left. If you get this line out here, it can still be a T. Most of the time they don't turn to this, but once in a while if they do, then they stick an extra bar out there to show you that it's a T. If you have someone with a little more relaxed handwriting, you might get that same square look, just rounded. All right, the letter U. Now, this is a U. You can see that. Earlier, I made an M that looked similar to that. If it's followed by a consonant, it's probably a U. If it's followed by a vowel, it's probably an M. They can look very similar. Once in a while, you'll get a U that'll look like this, and then there will be another line over here. You think this is a B, you're trying to figure out what that is, but it really is a U. The two parts together make the letter U. Now, I'm just showing you different varieties of these letters that we've come across. There are a lot more. These are just some of the more common ones. You will, some of them are more simple, some are more difficult. Some of them you might only find one time. I can't go over every letter that you see. Just trying to help you find some of those differences that you'll see as you are indexing to help you a little bit. We talked about the letter V earlier with the letter N. It's very similar to an N. You might get a flourish right here at the top, come down, back up. You might get, if it start here real faint, and then come down and back up. And it looks like the N. Now remember, the N will probably have a little curve in front of it to make it different from the V. And you also might get a V that's like this. Doesn't have that curve at the beginning. Here's the V, and this is the flourish. And sometimes you want to make that a P. I showed you all those P's that had curls, and so you think that's a P. If you read the rest of the word, you usually can figure out what that is. The letter Z. Z is real simple. Goes up, cross, down, comes up. Usually we'll have a line through there. That's a real simple Z. You get one that's flourished. It'll have a curly Q here. It really looks like an F, and you have to recognize that it's crossed back over itself and go, oh, that's not an F, that's a Z. All right, now we're going to talk a little bit about some of the lowercase letters that you might see when you're doing indexing. We're not going to go through them all A through Z, but we're going to talk about some of the most common ones that you might have a hard time recognizing. A is a real common letter. It's in most of the words. You'll see it a lot. You will get an A, just like the capital ones, that they will write the line way over here and then go on writing. And you have to see that and say, oh, that's not the letter O, that's an A because the line is there. And sometimes, because they're in a hurry, they have this big open. And so you have to look through the word and see, is that a U or is that an open A? You might get an L that looks like and has an S. You got that open here, you got that open there. That is actually a hump on an H. This could be a lowercase h. The letter D. You get your regular D. You might get an O with a detached line, similar to your A and your H. They get around to flourishing. You will get a circle, and they will throw that line clear halfway across the word. You'll get that line, they'll come up, and they'll just circle around a few times. The letter I in a word